Hello everyone, welcome to the finite element analysis classroom. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss the formulation and the problems in isoparametric element. So first of all, what is meant by isoparametric element means? In FEA, we have linear elements, we have quadratic elements, and we have cubic elements. So when you have the lower order elements, then your surfaces or edges will be a straight line. So that is what we have solved in the previous lectures. But when you go for higher order elements, that is your quadratic or your cubic elements, then your edges will be a curved one. So you will have a curved slides. Okay. So to derive the shape function for curved sides, it's very difficult. So what we will generally do is we will map the curved sides into a linear line or a straight line. But what we will do is we will convert that curved sides into natural coordinate system. Okay, so there we will represent the coordinates in natural coordinates, and for natural coordinates your value will not be greater than 1. Okay, so you will have the values in between 1 to -1. Okay, so here you can see that. So here I have mapped the linear, the curved edge into a linear. Okay, so here it is represented in Cartesian coordinates, that is your x and y coordinates. Here I have replaced it with the natural coordinates, that is eta and nu. Then here you can see that it's a two-dimensional triangular element. Here this is actually my curved surface, that is isoparametric surface. Here I have converted this Cartesian coordinate system into a natural coordinate system. So your lines will be a straight line, but here the coordinates is eta and nu. So here this is eta 1, nu 1, this is eta 2, nu 2, and this is eta 3 and nu 3, not x and y system. So similarly for two-dimensional quadrilateral element, this is the Cartesian coordinate system, or otherwise you can call it as parent element, and I am converting the parent element into a master element in natural coordinates eta and nu. You can see that. So the maximum value will be +1 and the minimum value will be -1. Okay, so this is called isoparametric formulation. So there are three types of isoparametric elements are there. One is isoparametric, the second one is superparametric, and the third one is subparametric. So in isoparametric, the shape functions are used to identify both the displacements as well as geometry. So in the previous problems or previous elements, we have used the shape function to identify the displacement alone. But in case of isoparametric element, the shape function is used to identify both the displacement as well as the geometry. So in case of isoparametric, the nodes for defining the displacement is equal to the nodes for defining the geometry. In superparametric, the nodes for defining the geometry is greater than the nodes for defining the displacement. You can see that the dot is a node for defining the displacement, and the square is a node for defining the geometry. So that is in case of superparametric. When you go for subparametric, then we have 3 nodes for defining the geometry, and we have 6 nodes for defining the displacement. Okay, so this is the difference between the 3 isoparametric elements. So now coming to the shape function, here I have considered a general quadrilateral element, that is my parent element. So I am converting the parent element into a master element, that is your isoparametric quadrilateral element in the natural coordinates eta and nu. So here these are all my shape functions. Since I have 4 nodes, I will have 4 shape functions. So n1 is equal to 1 by 4, 1 minus eta, 1 minus nu. Here you can see that at node 1, the eta value and nu value will be -1. So that is why you have minus and minus here. At node 2, eta is +1 and nu is -1. So eta is plus and nu is minus. Then at node 3, both the eta value and nu value will be in positive. So eta is positive, nu is also positive. At node 4, eta is negative and nu is positive. So eta is negative and nu is positive. So these are all the 4 shape functions. Then the next matrix is Jacobian matrix. So this is a new term. So Jacobian matrix actually relates the natural coordinate system with the Cartesian coordinate system. So it gives the relationship between this master element and the parent element. Okay, so this J is the relationship between these two elements. Okay, so the equation for J matrix is J11, J12, J21, J21. So here this is the equation. It is 1 by 4 minus 1 minus nu x1 plus 1 minus nu x2, 1 plus nu x3, 1 plus nu x4. So J11 and J12 will be in nu, J21 and J22 will be in eta. So here also you can use the same principle. At node 1, eta and nu both are minus. So you can move from this 1, 2, 3, 4. So node 1 is minus minus, node 2 is plus minus. So here it is plus minus, node 3 is plus plus. So it is plus plus, node 4 is minus plus. Then here the J11 can be replaced by, if you replace eta with nu, then you will get J21. Again the same equation. Then when you go for J12, then you have to move in the opposite direction. So for J11 we have moved from 1, 2, 3, 4, that is in the counterclockwise direction. Here you have to move in the clockwise direction. So it is minus minus, then minus plus. Here you can see that here it is minus plus, then it is plus plus, then again it is plus minus. Okay, so here it is x, here it is y, then write it in the anti-clockwise direction, clockwise direction. If it is x, then it is x21, if it is y, then it is x22. Okay, so this is how you can remember the Jacobian matrix equation. Then the next matrix is strain displacement matrix. Okay, so B is equal to G into H. The G is, this is the G matrix. It is 1 by modulus of J, J22 minus J12, 0, 0, 0, 0, minus J12, J11. Then write it here J21, J11, then J22 and minus J12. And here into 1 by 4, this is actually your Jacobian matrix. It is almost like your Jacobian matrix. You can see that minus 1 minus mu 0, then 1 minus mu 0, then 1 plus mu 0, minus 1 minus mu 0. First row, then second row, third row and fourth row. Okay, so this is how you can remember this B matrix equation. Then the element stress equation is common. Sigma is equal to dB into del. For element strain it is E is equal to B into del. So for the D matrix we have two conditions. One is plane stress condition as well as plane strain condition. So this equation is same for all, like the CST element. You can refer that. Here E is the Young's modulus and mu is the Poisson ratio. Okay, so mostly in the problems they will ask you to calculate the Jacobian matrix, strain displacement matrix, or sometimes they may ask you to calculate the sigma and E. Okay, so this is my first problem. For the linear quadrilateral element shown in figure, calculate Jacobian matrix, strain displacement matrix at Gauss point. So actually here the element is given in x and y, that is Cartesian coordinate system. But we have to find out the Jacobian matrix and strain displacement matrix at the Gauss point, that is eta is 0.57735 and nu is minus 0.57735. Okay, fine. So here I have converted this into my natural coordinate system with eta is 0.77 something and nu is minus 57735. Okay, fine. So first we'll calculate the Jacobian matrix. The equation for Jacobian matrix is J11, J12, J21 and J22. So now I have written the equations. So here eta we know, nu we know, x1, x2 is, it is given in the problem. So here it is x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3 and x4, y4, because it is given in the Cartesian coordinates. So you can substitute it. So the value for J11 is 1.6 789, and for J12 it is 0.5. For J13, I mean J21 it is minus 0.289, and J22 is 1.5. Okay, so this is my Jacobian matrix. The next one is strain displacement matrix. B is equal to G into H. So this is the G equation. Here modulus of J is there. So I have already calculated the J value. So you can use the determinant of J in your calculator and you can find out the J value. And also we have the values for J11, J12, J21 and J22. So you can substitute everything here. And this is the H. So we know the formula. You can substitute the value of nu and you can substitute it the value of eta. So once after calculating the G matrix and H matrix, you can multiply it together because we know that B is equal to G into H. Okay, so we have the G matrix and we have the H matrix. You can multiply it and you can find out the B matrix, that is strain displacement matrix. Okay, fine. So here the thing is you have to remember this equation. So that's the main problem. Okay, so you have to remember the equations for Jacobian matrix, then strain displacement matrix. Okay, so that is very important. The tutorial problem is calculate the Jacobian matrix, strain displacement. So this is J matrix, then B matrix, element strains E and the element stresses for the element shown in figure. E is given, mu is given, eta and u is 0, 0 and the u is given. So this is the u vector. So that is 0, 0, 0.002, 0.003, 0.005 and 0.004 because it is given in transverse. Okay, so you can transpose it. And this is the given element. Here all the coordinates are given in centimeter. Better you can convert it into centimeter to mm. Fine. Okay. So you can calculate the J matrix, B matrix. Further E, we know that the equation for E is equal to B into del. So here the del is given, that is displacement. So in some textbooks they may follow del, in some textbook they may follow U. So don't confuse about it. Then the fourth one is element stresses. So sigma is equal to d B into del, or otherwise once if you calculate the strain initially, then you can write like this: E is equal to d into E, because this B and del is same as the E. Okay, so you can use this E equation also to find out the stress value. Okay, so these are all the calculated answers. This is my B matrix, this is strain and this is my stress. Okay, so the answer is in Newton per centimeter square. Okay, so you can refer that.